That was a sound of misery, folks. We remember that. I'll tell you, there are a few things in St. Louis that when you hear immediately, a gunshot, unfortunately, and the Steve Yzerman freaking goal. And I'm telling you, I'm very proud to be joined by my colleague at the Hockey Writers, Kyle Knopp. He covers the Red Wings, and we're going to go back in memory lane because we're celebrating a milestone, not for us, but for those guys, of that historic double overtime goal that really just sliced the hearts of us Blues. So Kyle, welcome to Talking Some Pucks, man.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Excited to be here. So, sorry it's heartbreak for one side, but, one team has to win, one team has to lose. And that's the beauty of the game. So I'm happy to be here and talking about it with you.
And even in the losing effort, I really, as a guy that was relatively young when that happened and really into the game, I think it really defined the franchise and kind of where the fan base was and where we were like, hey, wait a minute, we're getting this close. We have to be able to get over the hump. We brought in Wayne Gretzky. I mean, what more can we do? So, but boy, I'll tell you what, from your standpoint, you guys use that victory and just had a great postseason. Talk about that year from what you remember about it.
Yeah, so I was also pretty young, boy growing up in Michigan, born and raised in Michigan, and just grew up on the Red Wings. And, those were tough years. We just got off of getting swept by the Devils in the Stanley Cup Finals the year before. And, same with the Blues. Is this the year? Is this going to be the year? And so that was a huge series. I mean, John Casey played outrageous for the whole series. In support of Grant Fuhr after Fuhr went down with the injury, and that turned into a great turning point for the Red Wings. Unfortunately, they did lose in the next round, but that was the catalyst to really send them over the edge the following year and really push them into that back-to-back cup run.
That's I do remember that it was the following year because you're right, they did step out of the playoffs the very next round. But boy, what an exciting round, and it kind of really brought back a lot of memories for me of just the way hockey used to be. And buddy, I just got to tell you, I can't take this new division realignment, man. I cannot, as a Blues fan, just can't get into the San Jose Sharks. I'm sorry, man. We need you guys back. We need the Blackhawks. I get that they had to do this, but boy, I'll tell you what, those rivalries were really unlike anything I've ever seen.
Oh, absolutely. And, besides the original six rivalries, the next six, so they are called, or, the next group of teams came in, and the Blues were competitive right from the jump. And so to have those rivalries in the 80s and 90s, was great hockey to grow up on. And yeah, going back and watching this game, it's definitely a different style of hockey, but were those games between these two teams so much fun to watch.
And I'll tell you, it's just one of those moments that's frozen in time. Wayne Gretzky, Mr. Everything, turns the puck over. Yzerman goes across the center line, and I mean, just right above the blue line, just rips off a shot. You see him a billion times. Don't really think anything of it, but this one just snuck under Casey's, and he was incredible that game. He saved, I think, 30 of 31 and was just stood on his head the entire series. Yeah. So again, unfortunately, people don't remember that part of it. They just remember that goal. But boy, just a celebration. And again, as we heard with the sound clip, it went on for 10 minutes. You guys were screaming and hollering. So, and again, exciting days. But again, those teams were had Yzerman, you had Larionov, you go down the roster, you're talking about some Hall of Famers, and what an exciting time to be a Red Wing fan.
Yeah, oh, it was a blast, and that was right in the heart of the Russian Five era too. And in fact, one thing that's not talked about that game is the Blues pretty much dismantled the Russian Five. They forced Scotty Bowman to do some line juggling, and if you remember, the series was bookend by two Wings wins with three Blues wins right in the center. But those three wins really made Bowman and the Wings search deep and have to shuffle lines and really figure out how to get to that next level. And I think not relying on the Russian Five only game in and game out really showed the Wings that they have to be a full team, and the Blues helped us see that.
And every game, I think out of the 7 games, I think 5 of them were 1-goal games, but there were 2 overtimes, obviously the double overtime. So really a 2 well-matched teams. And again, like you said, we had, Wayne Gretzky, Shane Corson, Al McGinnis. I mean, we definitely had, a squad that could have been there. Obviously, the breaks of the game. So, but then again, now we talk about, again, Detroit being a city that has so much hockey history.
Mhm.
The greats Gordie Howe, and you just go down the line. And certainly St. Louis, we have our shares, but we're now we're in this new era of hockey and this new thing, and we're playing teams in a different time zone. Our games start at 9, and you're playing Columbus. I mean, how's that going over with fans up there?
Yeah, so I think everyone understands that this year is just, out of everyone's control, and we're just trying to cope with it as best as possible. And, especially, hey, we're happy we're playing hockey right now. Unfortunately, teams like Vancouver are experiencing, heavy outbreaks. So to be able to have hockey at all has just been, any little bright spot to this year. Um, as a Eastern Conference fan and writer, I prefer this because my latest game is 7:30, whereas you're or sorry 8:30 with Dallas. But I don't have to deal with the San Jose's and the 10:30 start times,
Sure.
which is really nice for my end.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I miss the St. Louis's. I mean, the Central is tough this year,
Sure.
and with Detroit being in the middle of the rebuild, we could definitely look at it as being we kind of got the short end of the stick too. So it's tough, but we're trying to get through it.
And again, you guys have one of our fan favorites, Robby Fabbri, who really
Yes.
rediscovered himself. You want to talk about Robby this year? Because again, you kind of had a hard luck situation here in St. Louis. A lot of people really thought, again, what Jordan Cairo is what they thought Robby Fabbri was. Unfortunately, Fabbri had the injuries and things happened. But how he's been received very well up there.
Oh yeah, we love Fabbri up there. Unfortunately, he's dealing with a little bit of an injury right now, but he's just been on a tear the last few games. I remember I was working with the Saginaw Spirit when Fabbri was with Guelph, and I remember being in Guelph and texting one of my friends and being like, remember the name Fabbri. He's going to be money in a few years. And he went to St. Louis, and I kept an eye on his career there. And then as soon as we got him in Detroit, I was pretty excited, texting my same friends like, "What did I tell you? What did I tell you?" But yeah, he's been having a heck of a resurgence this year. And I would love to see him get back and be able to pick right up where he left off.
And you may hear the boo birds and the people who were kind of chirping about him being not a complete player, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of people who really love Robby Fabbri and respect him and respect his game and respect what he brought to the Blues. Again, poor guy suffered these terrible injuries and really weren't, obviously there's injuries to everybody, but these were leg injuries. And again, had a really rough go, but congratulations for him getting back. Has a couple hat tricks for you guys. I guess he's one of the leaders of the teams in hat tricks this year.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. I think he's got 2 or 3, but he's just been such a great addition and a great bright spot. And we're hoping this is glimpses of the future of Yzerman making trade deadline deals and getting more Fabbris in our lineup. We'd love that, absolutely.
Sure. Again, with the trade deadline, I know there's always names that, Mike Hoffman here in St. Louis. Obviously, there's been some talk about, Vince Dunn, even Tyler Bozak. So certainly on your guys' mount, you're hearing a lot of names, you're floating around. Being kind of in the center of that, I guess, has to be pretty exciting. But have to be careful not to get caught up in the rumors.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this time of year is all speculation, right? So it's fun for us as writers because we get to flex our creativity muscles a little bit and then do a whole lot of what ifs. But yeah, it's at the same time we're sitting around and just waiting by our phone, waiting to see what happens, so then we can start plugging these pieces in and seeing what type of teams and what type of rebuilds we'll have for the upcoming season. So a lot of good prospects coming up in Detroit. We're expecting a few guys to be moved. I could speculate if you want, but it's like you said, it's all speculation at this point. Yeah. And by the time it happens, I'll be completely wrong anyway. So, but we're really excited for what the future has in Detroit, and we have a couple prospects. We're hoping to get a look either later this year with the SHL and other European leagues ending, or if at the very latest getting them into the lineup next year.
That's fantastic. Again, we're visiting with Kyle Knopp. He's a writer for the Hockey Writers, covers the Detroit Red Wings. And I know that we started off the segment talking about the infamous, double overtime goal. And you said one of your good friends played for the Blues, Jay Wells. You want to take us through a couple of the stories he told you about that game? I know you had a conversation with him earlier today.
Yeah. I worked with Jay when I was with the Saginaw Spirit, and he's a great guy. And so, reached out to him when you reached out to me about doing this, and, forgot he was on the Blues that season until I saw
We
his.
hope to actually have them together at some point. I know that's something we're working on doing. So
Yeah, I hope that will happen. He's such a great guy, and he's got stories for days. Excellent guy. But yeah, he's kind enough to give me a call this afternoon, actually, and just kind of went back and forth with him. And, he was at the end of his career, so he was the fifth or sixth defenseman at that time. And understandably, only got one or two shifts in the third and in the first overtime. Second overtime wasn't deep enough to get any
yeah,
death players in, but he said he had one of the best spots on the bench for that shot. And although he was on the losing team, that just the way that he stepped over and ripped that, and just probably one of the most perfect and beautiful shots that he saw. And just to watch them celebrate was, he said, really surreal to be able to experience in their building. And he experienced it in '94 with the Rangers. And so to be on the other side of that, he was able to take that in where he was in his career, but just said to be in that moment was unreal.
it's crazy, and this has really been lost to history. But they actually found the Blues coach's whiteboard, and it just said circled, "Don't let Yzerman get the puck. Don't let Yzerman get the puck." And I don't know what happened. Obviously, Yzerman got the puck, and the rest is history. But
So sorry to cut you off. You bring that up, but Jay was telling me, I think it was after game two, one of the players, and he refused to name names because he's still a good teammate, but had left their playbook for that series in the locker room or in the hotel. And 2 days later, it was published in the St. Louis Times, or your paper down there.
wow.
And so he said, like, by game two, game three, the Red Wings had all their secrets, had all their game plans, and they had to pretty much go back to the drawing board and draw up new breakouts and new plays, in the middle of a series.
Yeah.
And so he said that kind of put him at a little bit of a disadvantage. But yeah, it was, yeah. Don't let Yzerman shoot, and he just got off one pretty shot, and that's all it needed that game.
And I'm going to ask you because in my fan days, I was very lucky one day, and I actually got seats right down by the glass, just through hook and crook. Trust me. And there was a game where the Blues were playing the Los Angeles Kings,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really amazed at just how Wayne Gretzky was the quarterback on that ice and just really ran things. And obviously Jay played with Wayne. Did he have any sort of comments about how Wayne handled that game and how he was the leadership he brought? Anything about Wayne?
Yeah. So, I did ask him, actually. I asked him, he played with Wayne and Messier. He was
That's
with
right.
New York with Messier, and
Mhm.
tried to goad him into a response as to who was better. And his answer was, obviously professional, and that both players were of a whole different era and level of their own. But yeah, he said that, Wayne Gretzky, he had all, he had the tools, and he was just the consummate leader, and just was, there to pick up the guys, in the locker room, and trying to really lead the team. But it was kind of hard in that situation because Mike Keenan brought him in at the trade deadline. So he'd really only been meshing with the guys for about 2 months. And I mean, the team was full of other leaders. You had Hall and a lot of other players on that team that could step up. And so Jay kind of mentioned that the St. Louis Gretzky might not have been the same type of leader as the Oilers Gretzky, but still, just to have his presence in the locker room was, just something else,
And that's
especially.
interesting you bring that up about Mike Keenan, because all we hear is he was just such a people person and such a bright,
Mhm.
positive influence. Actually, no, people are very much down on Mike Keenan. So again, I want to talk to you real quick about your work with the Hockey Writers. Is something I'm brand new with. I know you said you're new with it. I really enjoyed. I liked the network, and I liked being able to network in with writers from other cities. What's been your experience, and what are you working on these days?
Yeah, so I kind of just stumbled across an opening for the Hockey Writers, actually with the Tampa Bay Lightning back in December, and was freelancing, and I've been in marketing, sports marketing, for most of my professional career. Got away from it into some nonprofit work and wanted to get back into it. So I jumped at the opportunity and covered the Lightning for a couple months, and then the Red Wings had a writer that was heading back to his full-time job, and a position opened up. And they asked if I wanted to slide over, which, of course, covering the team that you grew up on. And, I interned with them while in undergrad in 2007, 2008. So, I got to be part of the 2008 Stanley Cup run with the Wings, which was amazing in its
Wow.
own own right. And so like it was a no-brainer. I had to switch over and work with the Red Wings. So right now we're doing a lot of trade deadline pieces and just kind of strapping in the seatbelts. We're hoping it's going to be a busy, fun day. But to go back to your original question, I have been just welcomed by the Hockey Writers Association, our family there, as I like to call us. I mean, everyone has been so positive and so supportive and helping push stories for other teams and really just kind of we're a bunch of hockey fans, fanatics that just love the game, and everyone brings a little bit of different flavor to it, and so I just try to do what I can and contribute when I'm able to.
I totally appreciate that because again, I've been freelancing and I've done different projects over the years. And
Mhm.
the thing I like is the support system. Again, they let you know right away what's expected. And the other thing is they put out good product. The news is
Oh,
for
yeah.
us in our market, we may not see as many items about hockey writers, but certainly you go into the Canadian markets, they're really on top of stories like a daily newspaper would be. So again, there's different levels, and I always try to promote them here in my
Mhm.
market, just so people get tuned into it. There's some great stuff out there.
Yeah, and I mean, what better way than to prepare for an upcoming opponent or the upcoming playoffs, or even if you want to read about a couple players that are coming on the market for the trade deadline. I mean, we cover every team, and each piece is a little different, a little deeper dive into specific analytics or specific aspects of the team. So, I mean, you hear someone from the Sharks say is going to be coming to the Blues, jump over on the Sharks page and start reading up on them. I mean, they
Exactly.
do a great job. We have amazing writers. And I love going on there and just reading, everything when I can. So
Because you're right, they're
it's,
fans. They're fans of the game. They like talking hockey. They respect the game. It's not joke bunch of inappropriate jokes and what have you. Because again, God knows we see enough of those on the internet, and I share half of them, so apologize for that. But again, I just have really appreciated their approach. Trying to get people here in our market to be a little bit more aware of them and just let them know what we're doing. So I know you guys do a little TV podcast there for the grind line. So obviously you guys have been doing it for quite some time in your market. How long has the Hockey Writers been in Detroit? I'm assuming since the start.
So I believe the Grind Line podcast just started this season. I think there's a few other ones. I want to say the Leaf, the Hockey Writers Live has been their
Yeah.
bread and butter from the beginning. And then I want to say the Leafs podcast and the Blackhawks maybe were the first couple that really got up off the ground, and then a few other teams kind of started following suit. So we're still kind of new at it as well. The rest of my team have been with the Wings a lot longer than I have. So I'm the rookie on the team. But yeah, they're great. We film every Friday night and we pump them out on Saturdays. Our staff at the Hockey Writers are great at producing and editing these videos and getting them out pretty quickly. So they're a ton of fun. This week will be, I think, my third or fourth, and it will be my first time hosting. So
Cool.
I got to go learn all my lines tonight.
Yeah. Well, you got a
But yeah,
face you got a face for radio, that's for sure.
yeah. I tried to let them know that from the beginning, but they wanted me on camera for whatever reason. So
Good.
I think there's
Well,
filters for that, right?
yeah. Well, again, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you coming on with us and talking a little hockey again. Hopefully we'll see you guys soon. We always keep an eye on the different divisions and what's going on. You guys obviously a little bit of a tough year this year, and we're not sure if ours is a tough year or not. We're still on that brink, but
Yeah.
probably is, but I'm not going to go on a limb just yet. So what are you predicting for the rest of the year for the Wings? A lot of young guys getting some time, just little people just trying out the different positions.
Yeah. So I think that we'll see a lot more young guys probably get some more time. Obviously, it's going to depend on which moves are made at the deadline. If we're as active as we have been on the Hockey Writers, a lot of our young guys will be getting some time, which will be nice. There's a chance we may be getting a prospect that's been over in Europe coming back for the end of April, beginning of May. So if we could get them a couple games and just get their feet wet, that would be amazing. And then we got to prepare for the expansion draft this year. Is gonna throw a lot of curveballs in the off season, and then get preparing for the draft and then continuing to build. So a lot of rebuild. I think we're still 2-3 years out from being in the playoff contention. Obviously the sooner the better. But if Yzerman can do half of what he did in Detroit as what he did in Tampa Bay, I think we'll be okay.
Well, again, I just want to thank you for being on with us. I have had the pleasure of actually being, I've been to Detroit. I've been to the actual football game, but went over to the old, I was at Hockey Title Town, the little complex you guys got there, and was blown away, man. What a cool place. And you guys do hockey right up there. And I definitely appreciate it. I still think you guys are a bunch of pricks for beating us, but you know what? We'll get over it. We're getting there.
Well, you have the most recent cup, so I think we're the ones that should be a little jealous.
Well, like I said, Tampa Bay's got the most recent one.
Well, that's true, but I mean, out of our two teams.
The COVID Cup. But anyway, Cal, thanks for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and put you on hold, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you.